Disclaimer. Please check your playback settings. Ensure you are listening to this podcast at normal speed. Unless you want us to sound drunk. Then play at half speed. Thank you.
Back in 1989.
All right, Dan, are we ready to do this?
Sure thing, Tom.
You bet. Okay, guys, let's get this going. So we're going to be doing a follow-up to our last game in the hard kill setting.
Awesome!
Awesome!
It's going to be... Alright, that's 2... Airport Cowboy.
Ooh. So what, it's going to take place in an airport? Awesome!
I love planes. I'm playing a pilot in one of my other campaigns. I pilot F-14 Tomcats at school.
So how long ago since the last campaign? Was it like 10 years or has it been like 20?
Just 1 year. So, we open in an airport on Christmas.
Christmas! Just like the last campaign.
Awesome! I love when the same stuff happens to the same guy twice.
Josh, since your character died in the last game, we need to roll you a new character.
Can this character be my old character's brother?
No. Maybe next time.
Well then, I want my character to be a former Navy SEAL and an expert in karate and knives and guns. Yeah, he's really good at guns.
That's dumb. You can't do all that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Josh, you gotta roll for all that. But you'll never get all of that.
Yes, I will. You'll see. Ha! What'd I say?
What? No, Tom, you can't let him do that.
Hey, Dan, he got the dice. The dice said so. So, Josh is a karate, knife, gun, master, Navy SEAL.
Woohoo! Cowabunga!
Oh, for frick's sake. I'm just a cop. Fine. But I get to keep my shoes on this time. He should start off half naked or something.
Now we just need to roll the bad guys.
How much longer is this going to take?
Not long.
Several hours later.
Done. All right. I think we got it all set up now. So let's get this game started.
Finally! Gosh.
Guys, my parents just got back from Blockbuster. They rented Batman.
But the game.
Come on, Tom. We can play this later. We've got all weekend.
I guess.
Yeah, let's watch a movie, guys. Rise and shine, campers.
Put on your booties, because it's cold outside.
It's cold out there every day. That's right, woodchuck chuckers. It's
Groundhog's Day!
It's the Groundhog Day parade to Punxsutawney. We've got everything here in this here parade.
Hey, it's Hoosiers with Gene Hackman.
Oh, and Dennis Hopper.
In Speed.
Oh, wow. Now we have Keanu Reeves in
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Oh my god, and William Sadler.
Die Hard 2.
Oh my God, Bruce Willis.
Armageddon.
Don't look now, don't look now. It's Ken Hudson Campbell.
2.
Groundhog's Day! Parade down the streets of Punxsutawney with Dan, Tom, and Josh every Tuesday at the Firepit as they make their way down to the most timeless holiday of the season, Groundhog's Day. The winter may be long, but hey, they got you, babe. Do, 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 do. Disclaimer, don't do what we tell you to do in this episode.
Good evening, bots and listeners, and welcome to another thrilling episode of The Fire Pit. I'm Dan, British name Nigel, and after beating death at his own games, we're still waving at the crowd and watching the band march on the parade to Punxsutawney towards Groundhog Day, the 1993 dramedy starring Bill Murray. But before we get there, we need to get our sequel-itis out of the way, and now to tell us about what we're watching and who we're watching, Josh.
Thank you, Dan. Brilliant segue as always. I love it when you talk about sequels.
I'm Josh, British name Reginald, and last week we watched William Sadler as the Grim Reaper lead Bill and Ted on one of the most bogus journeys that we've watched here on the Fire Pit. And tonight, we will follow one William Sadler as he tries to send Bruce Willis to the afterlife in 1990's Die Hard 2, Die Harder. Yes, that's the real title. They worked very hard and probably got paid more than you make in a year for coming up with that name. But now, to give us a rundown on the film, I'm going to go send things over to Tom. Thompson?
Well, thank you, Reginald. Thompson here, American name Tom. And as mentioned, we are sticking with sequels right now and watching 1990's Die Hard 2, Die Harder, the sequel to the 1988 Christmas classic. Look it up. It's Christmas movie, Die Hard. This movie, directed by Rennie Harlin, released on 29 June 1990, has a runtime of 124 minutes. The budget for this one was around $60–70 million, give or take a bit, and a box office of $240.2 million, the highest profit of any Die Hard film, which is impressive considering it's one of the more, well, aside from the most recent Die Hard, one of the least remembered
Man,
ones.
with a box office return like that, you know, that just oozes need more sequels, because clearly this is a money-making
Well, now,
IP.
in the defense at the time, this is only the first sequel to Die Hard. They didn't know that they were going to be 2 or 3 more after this. And 2, I mean, sequels make money usually, so I can see why they did. Also, Die Hard was a huge hit. Like, Die Hard was a really big hit movie, and I can see why the appeal of a sequel would be, yeah, let's go see that. I can't believe they're making a sequel to Die Hard, and they go and see it, and a lot of people went to go see that movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, Lethal Weapon did get 4 movies, and apparently working on a 5th.
Yeah. Hell, I think they're working on a fifth Die Hard now. So it's like, you know.
6. They're on 6 with Die Hards now, because the 5th one was with his son.
Oh, right.
Another Day to Die Hard.
No, that was A Good Day to Die Hard.
Yeah, A Good Day to Die Hard. Shit, I think I just gave Hollywood the name of their next movie.
Please don't. We don't need to give them any more, Josh. They just need to let this die. Not even
Hard. With a vengeance.
But honestly,
Another day.
Damn it, Josh.
And live free. Live free.
A good day.
Damn it.
Go on, Tom. Please continue with your rundown before we trample all over it.
No, I was going to say, I would like to think that some people would be pained by Josh, but no, I think there's a lot of people that like these puns enough, because this film honestly has a pretty decent score. It's got a 7.2 on IMDb with a 69% freshness on Rotten Tomato with a 70% audience score. So honestly, I mean, it's not as highly rated as the original Die Hard, which I think is almost a 10-star on IMDb, but yeah, this one still brings in the audience, which I'm surprised about. I thought it was going to be a clunker, but nope, it made its bank and got the eyes. So yeah, okay, I can see why Hollywood said, let's keep doing this 5 or 6 more times, guys.
Yeah, well, the sequel to this one is a pretty big hit too. Die Hard with a Vengeance was a big hit too. So.
Bruce McClane and Nick Fury?
John McClane. Jesus, Josh.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got the names wrong. I am such a horrible person for doing that.
You are, and the internet will note this forever.
I apologize to our 7 listeners and 30 bots.
31 bots now. Don't diminish them. Well, I mean, give them credit, though. I mean, they went, 10 years between Die Hard 2 and Die Hard 3? This one was right
5 years. It was 5 years. 2 years between Die Hard. 88 was Die Hard. 90, Die Hard 2, and Die Hard with a Vengeance was 95.
Yeah, so they at least gave it some time to settle down a little bit before they jumped into number 3. This one was like, not the paint had even dried. Like, we got to get a second one out, guys.
Well, that was the 80s in general. They would throw out movies like quick. I mean, like in Home Alone and Home Alone 2, granted, those were early 90s. There was a year between those 2 movies. But like, I think we had the Lethal Weapon movies. The first 3 were out within a 5-year time span. Correct me if I'm wrong on this. But like, what else am I thinking? Ghostbusters. That was 80. Was it 84 or 86?
Ooh, I don't remember.
No, because I think those had a little longer time frame because I think Ghostbusters 2 came out in 1991.
89 is Ghostbusters 2. Because that was, because 1989 was a big year for movies. Like Ghostbusters 2, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Batman, to Tim Burton Batman. Like 89 is a very big year for lots of blockbusters.
But I know the 80s had a short turnaround for sequels like that. And the 90s tried to do it, but they just decreased the quality of the sequels usually. Except for Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls.
Yeah. Although there is a pretty big time gap between Die Hard with a Vengeance and Live Free or Die Hard, the fourth one.
I still don't understand why they resurrected that beast.
12 years, yeah. Jason Long was very popular and he wanted to do Die Hard, so they made it PG-13. And he said, "Yippee-ki-yay, mother gunshot."
No, he says fucker in the movie. It's like, because it's a PG-13 movie, you get one. You get one F word.
No, that was a yippee-ki-yay. He said it, but he was like overshadowed with a gunshot. Yippee-ki-yay, mother gunshot.
Yeah, they dropped a hard F somewhere else in that movie. I can't remember where, but it was way earlier. And it's like, you wasted your F-bomb in a movie where your tagline is motherfucker. Or excuse me, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yeah, that's his catchphrase. I mean, that, and yeah.
Which was an improv line, incidentally.
Yeah.
But
I've got
speaking of trivia.
Yes.
Speaking of trivia.
Yes. So Nigel, tell us a little bit trivia on this film. He said, gradually segueing into that segment.
Brilliant segue, guys.
So gradual.
We are so good with the segues. It's amazing just how good we are. 44 episodes in with the segues. It's amazing.
Segue reps. Come calling. We'll talk.
It is. We are on Olympic level now. Anyways, I've got thoughts on the other Die Hard sequels if we ever get to them. I kind of hope we do someday, although we can take our time getting to A Good Day to Die Hard. We can take our time getting to that one. Speaking of Die Hard sequels, this is actually Bruce Willis's least favorite Die Hard film. He feels it's too similar to the first one, and for this reason, he's named it his least favorite of the first 4 Die Hard films. However, he's softened on it over the years because he's never outright disowned this movie the way he did A Good Day to Die Hard. In fact, he hates A Good Day to Die Hard. That's okay, Bruce. We all hate A Good Day to Die Hard. But the only difference between us and you is I didn't get paid to make that movie. You did. You collected that money. You knew what you were doing. So, yeah.
Hey, I'm not going to judge. Someone throws $30 million at me to make a bullshit film. Yeah.
Bruce Willis's personal favorites outside of the first one are 3, because he loved working with Samuel L. Jackson, and 4, because he actually kind of liked working with Justin Long as well. So, but he does not like this one, and he does not like A Good Day to Die Hard. Another little bit of trivia. This movie is famous or infamous in the amazing world of television dubbing. When the movie came out for broadcast TV in the early 90s, they had to edit quite a bit of the swearing out because, for the younger people in the audience, broadcast TV is very strict on language and violence. So when a movie comes out on broadcast television, it's got to be edited like crazy, and this movie has a ton of F-bombs in it, so including John McClane's famous line, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker." Well, this one, it had to be dubbed with actors who sounded exactly nothing like the actors in the movie, and at the end of the movie, when he says his "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker," it's dubbed "Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon," and it sounds nothing like Bruce Willis. There's no character named Falcon in the movie. It's amazing.
Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon.
It's amazing. So I thought that was kind of funny. Another thing for the younger people in the audience, another one of my favorite TV tropes is unintentional period piece. You're going to notice how lax airport security is in this movie compared to what it is in this post 9/11 world. Yeah, he actually literally gets away with murder in an airport that doesn't get shut down, or the police don't swarm it, or anything like that. It is kind of funny going back and watching and knowing that I know that they up some of the stuff for a drama, for the drama of the movie, like when he's smoking in an airport cafe, or when the passengers are smoking in their airplane. That's truth in television, folks. They were actually allowed to do that back then. That's kind of amazing.
I remember when airplanes had like the little ashtrays in the armrests too.
Right. They had a smoking sign that would light up when you could smoke during a flight and all that. Yeah, but it's like I said, if you're not used to that now in this, like I said, post 9/11 world where airports have tighter security than Fort Knox, then yeah, it could be a little jarring.
I mean, is there a scene where he's running through a freaking baggage claim and having a gunfight?
Yeah, and like if that had actually happened in America today, the airport would be shut down.
Well, you would think it would be back then too. There was a gunfight in baggage claim. I get it's the 80s/1990, but come on.
Yeah, it's just like I said, it's a little weird to see it now. And then my last two little bits of trivia. The dictator guy that's supposed to be the reason why the terrorists are doing what they're doing in this movie, he comes from the fictional Latin American country of Valverde. Fans of the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie Commando will recognize the fictional country in Latin America called Valverde. So it's confirmed, it's canon. Die Hard 2 takes place in the same universe as Commando.
I want to believe that somewhere out there is, an Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yes.
An ASEU.
Right.
Yes.
And the last bit of trivia, speaking of Commando, speaking of Arnold Schwarzenegger, that movie...
I'm not wearing any underpants.
Awesome.
Speaking of Commando.
That's more trivia than we needed.
Yeah, that's called useless information. But no, speaking of Commando, speaking of Arnold Schwarzenegger, that movie's really famous or popular for a lot of the one-liners in Commando, which I hope we get to that movie someday. That's the whole, I promised to kill you last. I lied, stuff like that. Like, that movie's got so many one-liners. Well, speaking of one-liners, in the original Die Hard, John McClane only had a few one-liners. Willis actually ad-libbed many of the famous ones that the first Die Hard movie. Some of the famous ones that he ad-libbed were the whole "Welcome to the party, pal," and "What the hell do you think I'm doing? Ordering a fucking pizza?" when he's trying to get help. Test audiences love the ad-libbed one-liners. So in this one, the script gave him more one-liners, and he was given more freedom with the character. So he actually added a bunch of his own one-liners in this movie, and including an entire monologue, which ended up being the famous "What are you doing, John?" moment in the movie, where he's monologuing to himself about how the same shit happens to the same guy twice. That's all I got for now. I'll go through some more, maybe my final thoughts, or maybe as the movie progresses. I don't want to go on too long. But Josh, why don't you give me some box office info for this movie? What was the box office like in 1990 when Die Hard was coming out?
Well, this is going to feel a little bit deja vu-y for you guys, but this movie was released, as we said earlier, in July of 1990. It opened at number 1, and it ran until first weekend in September of that year. So a decent run, 10 weeks in the box office. But guess what movie it displaced? It was the movie it displaced was on its second week. It premiered at number 1.
Okay, 1990. I don't want to Google this.
Just take a quick guess. What? I will give you this hint and this hint only.
Okay.
We've watched it on the podcast.
Shoot.
Dead Calm?
No.
Thank God.
Close, but no cigar.
Well, that was my guess, Nigel.
I'm drawing a blank. I know it too. It's on the freaking tip of my tongue, and when Josh says it, I'm going to feel so stupid.
You will. Inadvertent trivia section. Days of Thunder.
I knew it!
Damn it!
I knew it! Oh,
yes.
Really? It was on its second week. Well, of course, it's Die Hard 2. Of course, it's going to, everyone's going to want to see
So
that.
the box office is very similar to that weekend. The only other movie that premiered that weekend was Jetsons, the movie. So the box office, the top 5 look like this. At number 5 was Total Recall. Number 4 was Jetsons. That pulled in $5 million. And number 3 was Dick Tracy on its 4th week of release, pulling in $6 million. Second place was Days of Thunder on its second week of release, pulling in $10 million. And Die Hard 2 premiered at number 1, pulling in $21 million, roughly 10% of its overall domestic gross. Other notables on this particular week was at number 7 was RoboCop 2. Number 8, the very famous and what's the word I'm looking for? The under-acclaimed Ghost Dad. Gremlins 2, Pretty Woman, and a personal favorite of mine. If you've heard the podcast, you'll know that I love this movie. Back to the Future Part 3.
It's amazing that at one point in time in this universe, in this exact timeline that we're living in now, for one weekend, more people paid to see Ghost Dad Then Back to the Future Part 3.
Proof.
And I don't care how many weeks. I don't care how many weeks Back to the Future Part 3 had been out. I would have rather seen and paid full price for Back to the Future Part 3 every single goddamn week it was out than see Ghost Dad once. And that's if with a free ticket to Ghost Dad. If they said, we'll give you a free ticket to Ghost Dad, or you have to pay full price to see Back to the Future Part 3. You don't get to choose any of the other movies. You just have to choose Back to the Future Part 3. I'm like, I'm going to go watch Back to the again.
Make
And I will gladly pay.
sure
Here's my money.
to pick Ghost Dad for a movie just to piss Dan.
We are absolutely never watching Ghost Dad.
Exclamation, 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 question mark.
Conversely, it's not the worst thing Bill Cosby's ever done. But that's a story for another podcast.
But yeah, it was a very exciting weekend. It was at number 1 for 2 weeks, finally getting displaced in July 20th by Ghost. That's it, just Ghost. Not Ghost Dad, but just Ghost.
No, that's a good movie. Ghost is a good movie.
So Ghost displaced that, but Ghost displaced it on its second week of release, so that's kind of interesting. Because Ghost premiered the week before, and then Ghost displaced it the week after. The 90s was a very different place in the box office. That shit would never happen in the modern box office.
I'm almost willing to bet it was word of mouth. It was like probably Ghost was a movie that a lot of people weren't excited about, and then a bunch of people went to go see, and then they went and told other people, you have to go see this movie.
I mean, Ghost ended up doing really well. I'm not going to get into the details on that one, but yeah, you wouldn't see that in the modern box office. A movie on its second week overtaking a movie.
Well, I mean, it's Die Hard too. I'm sure going back to the word of mouth, most people came out of that film, their friends were like, oh, how was it? It's like, it's just like the first one, only on an airplane.
Okay.
So it's probably, yeah, whereas Patrick
So what should you see next week? Go see Ghost, Chad. Ghost? Okay. I'll go see Ghost.
Go see Ghost.
So anywho, Tom, you want to tell us about some more info about the movie itself and the directorial and actors and all that other good jazz, the technical details of the film, please?
I'll do my best here, Josh. I'm tentatively calling this one What We Can Expect, because a lot of people have never seen or even really heard of this film, but sometimes you can guess what a film's going to be like and what you're going to get into by the people who make the film.
So the metadata.
The metadata, thank you. I'm stealing that because that's good. So, I mean, if you're going into this one blind, you got the director, Rennie Harlin, who, before this, if you liked Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, you had that. But other than that, most of his stuff was just schlocky stuff. And even now, it's like his biggest hits since then were The Long Kiss Goodnight, Driven, a few episodes of Bird Notice, and Deep Blue Sea. So if you like those films, I mean, this is the kind of director you'd like. He's a director who likes doing cheesy stuff. The writers, also an A-team of schlock action. Stephen E. D'Souza, I think we've seen before in a few other films. And Doug Richardson. Stephen, going back, was the writer on Commando. So that's probably why there's that nod to the One Town. Also, The Running Man and Die Hard. And after this, for those that like these films, he also did Judge Dredd and Street Fighter. Again, action-y schlock. Doug Richardson also Bad Boys, Money Train, and Welcome to Mooseport. So if you like the writing on those films, these are the guys that did this. As for the actors behind this, you have, of course, the returning stars from the original. Reginald Val Johnson, Al Powell himself, who I believe was the dad on Family Matters. Before this, he did some bit parts on Crocodile Dundee and was a jail guard in Ghostbusters. And after this, not much else. But again, once you peek at Family Matters, dude. And of course, Bruce Willis as the John McClane. Honestly, before this, he was in comedies. He was a comedy actor. Moonlighting, Blind Date, and the voice of Mikey the Baby from Look Who's Talking. And after this, he was the voice of Mikey in Look Who's Talking too. So this was back also when he cared about his roles. This was when he actually tried. He liked acting. Nowadays, I mean, so if you want to see a Bruce Willis when he actually cared, that's fine. And plus, the villain cast. We got some character actors here. Of course, William Sadler, star of stage and screen. We know him here on the podcast. This is a 4-peat, actually. This is a 4-peat. He was in The Green Mile. He was in, of course, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. And he was in Shawshank Redemption. So 4 times we've seen this man on this podcast. And of course, for those that like modern films, Iron Man 3, The Mist, and Star Trek Deep Space Nine. He was in a few episodes.
Yeah, he's Sloan, the Section 31 agent.
Yes, he is. And with him is Franco Nero, who plays Esperanza. Primarily Italian actor, who you've seen as Julius in John Wick, and also as Amerigo Vespucci in Django Unchained, which is a nod to his role as the original Django. This guy's career goes back all the way to the 60s, primary Italy, but he does everything, and when he's a villain, oh, he's so good. And just to add a little, sheen to this delicious pie, we got Mark Boone Jr., for those who love The Mandalorian, who was Ranzar Malk, who went out with a boom in that show.
Yeah.
And Colm Meaney, Miles O'Brien. Yes.
Who
he is awesome.
worked with, wait for it, Sloan on Deep Space Nine.
There we go. We got a Star Trek connection. So for those that like, schlocky stuff that's just nothing but explosions and fun, that's the exact film you're going to get out of this. So that's what we know we're expecting to get out of this film, but what are we expecting to get out of this film? And Nigel,
real quick, before you segue, for those playing the Fire Pit drinking game, you got to drink twice now, because we've had 2 Star Trek references. Now, continue.
Oh, thank you, Josh. Yes. But Dan, what are your expectations having seen this film before?
I've seen it. I think I've seen it within the last year. I tend to skip this one when I do a Die Hard marathon. I actually skip this one usually and go from Die Hard to Die Hard with a Vengeance. And even watch Live Free or Die Hard before I watch this one, only because those movies all have different plots. This movie really is almost identical to the first one. The only difference is the setting. And in this one, the terrorists are not actually thieves, or, as Hans Gruber put it, I'm an exceptional thief. They're actually terrorists. So that's the main difference. But that being said, I still think it's a fun movie. And I think looking on what the other Die Hard sequels have become, this one's not the worst one anymore. It's got that going for it. But as far as sequels to action movies go, I would put this one behind Lethal Weapon 2. See what I mean? Like, I think Lethal Weapon 2 is better than Die Hard 2, because Lethal Weapon 2 has a different plot than Lethal Weapon 1, whereas this movie has a lot of the same plot as Die Hard 1. But I don't know. Like I said, it's a fun movie, and I'll save a lot of my thoughts, comparisons between this one and the first one for my final thoughts after the movie's over, because I need to see it again. Like, I haven't seen it in a while, so I kind of want to watch it again with a critical eye. Normally I just watch it when I want to turn my brain off and just see a fun movie, because there are some parts about this movie I do like. So I'm expecting to have fun, though, tonight. I really am expecting to have fun watching this movie again. What about you, Josh?
That was a quick segue. Thank you, Dan.
I didn't want to ramble.
I know. No, I like this movie. And yes, for the most part, I do agree. It does have a lot of the same beat for beats, but I love some of the twists and turns this movie has. Like, I would definitely say that this isn't my least favorite of the Die Hard series. I almost want to say that if I had to rank them, I would definitely say Die Hard with a Vengeance, and it would be a toss-up between Live Free or Die Hard and this one at number 3. They're both very out there. But the thing is, if I recently went through and rewatched them all, and the only one I didn't watch was the last one. I will always hit this one up if I'm doing a Die Hard watch. I've watched it many times as an adult, so I know exactly what I'm getting out of it. I mean, I have seen Die Hard, but I'm not expecting a lot out of this one. I know I'm going to enjoy it. It's campy fun. I know the movie pretty much beat for beat. But my expectations are just average. Tom?
This film. I've only seen 3 parts to this film, and all 3 parts were spoiler parts in the movie. I have never seen it substantially, but it's like the old Simpsons one where Homer's watching the McBain or whatever on the TV screen, the movie. It's like, so you want to rent it? It's like, why? I've just seen the best parts. That's kind of how I'm going into this. And even then, when I saw those bits, I just like, this is nothing like how Die Hard is supposed to be. It's that beginning of John McClane being the fish out of water cop and going into John McClane, just another 80s action star. But now I'm going to preface this. just seeing clips of a movie does not necessarily make a movie. So I'm not optimistic. It's got a bad taste in my mouth going in, but I've been surprised before. Aquaman had the same flavor when I went into it, and I actually walked out surprisingly entertained by it. So I'm hoping this will surprise me, but
Yeah, I'll say this in the defense of this movie. You said it earlier when you were giving your what to expect. If you want to go back and see movies where Bruce Willis tried, this is one of them. Because it actually isn't that bad. If you really enjoy Die Hard 1, you'll like this movie. It's not, you'll recognize it's not as good, but you'll like it. So I'll say that, because Bruce Willis does actually try in this movie. And one of the reasons why he doesn't try anymore is because everyone hates working with him, so he's a hard time finding work. So now he's been regulated to the direct-to-DVD bin in movies that he's featured on the cover and very rarely acts in. So,
well, in his defense, I mean, since like the 90s, he's been expected to be John McClane in a John McClane film. It's like, am I going to act? No, I'm John McClane again. Okay, whatever. It's buying another house for me.
Well, or he actually got away from John McClane for a little while. Like when he did Die Hard with a Vengeance, he didn't do another Die Hard movie until 2007. He tried to get away from doing John McClane, and he only went back to John McClane.
Yeah, he has two roles though. He has two roles. He has John McClane or soggy Bruce Willis, aka Sixth Sense. Yeah. Those are his only two roles.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that, like I said, this movie isn't. I say it's not as good as the first one, but it's an enjoyable action flick. It's in the same realm with me as Lethal Weapon 3. You know,
and the beginning of Die Hard in a ...
Right. Yeah.
But speaking of Die Hard, so you guys have seen all 5 Die Hards, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, that's good, because guess who's got the quiz today?
Fuck you, God. Josh, for losing.
I know. It's all my fault.
Next time I'm on quiz, Josh, I'm just going to email you the answers.
But does this give you guys some weird deja vu? I mean, this is something about a renegade cowboy and an airport. something.
I'm drawing a blank.
You know, I don't know. No, I mean,
like some weird deja vu. I don't know. I'm sorry. Just something about this movie just is nostalgic. Besides the fact that it came out in my youth. I don't know. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, no, I get that. Well, maybe this quiz will help jog our memory, because, I mean, this is a plot that's been told before, technically 5 times. And I'm going to check to see how much you guys were paying attention to those other 5 times. So I'm stealing a bit from earlier quizzes. There have been 5 Die Hards total. And for this quiz, I will give you a quote. And you have to guess which Die Hard that quote comes from. Now,
can we just agree that Dan did it better?
Not yet, because it's my turn now.
Without you doing yours, Dan did it better. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
I'm the Die Hard 2. I'm going to show you up. Now, I'm going to make it easy. All of these quotes are John McClane lines. So you don't have to be like, well, that's William Sadler or anything like that. No, you don't have to worry about that. And of course, seeing as how some of these films are a bit less watched than others, I'll be doing kind of standard rules. Person who gets closest to the right movie gets a point, but the person who gets right on the money gets 2 points.
Wait. So you're going to be giving us a quote from the movie, and we have to guess the movie.
Yes.
So you get closer. So like, say if it's Die Hard 2, and I say Die Hard 3, and Dan says Die Hard 5, I get it because I'm closer?
You know, I was trying to make it competitive, but you're right. That is a dumb rule. So I'm just going to go back to the standard rules. Yeah.
Fuck you, Josh, for losing.
I know. What have I got done?
You know, no, I'm just going to stick to that rule. If you get it right, you get the point. Person with the most points at the end of 5 questions wins. And I do have a few that I can use for like if we get a tie. That said, who gave the quiz last week? Was it? It was Dan.
Yeah, because I lost. Stupid.
Yes, well, that's why we're in this fucking predicament.
Oh God, what's wrong with me?
Okay, so
I'm so sorry, Dan.
Well, Dan,
you should be.
You should be, Josh, and because of that, I'm going to let Dan go first.
To nobody's surprise.
Yes. Okay, So let's see here. I think I'm going to go with. Okay, so this one quote: "Who do you think you are, Hillary Clinton?"
Live free or die hard.
Josh,
I think Dan's got it, but I'm gonna go A Good Day to Die Hard.
you're both wrong. That's Die Hard with a Vengeance.
As soon as I said my answer, I had a feeling that was that one.
No points on the score.
When did he say that?
I think it's when he was in Harlem with the very racist sign that he was
Oh,
wearing.
yeah.
Okay, so this one, Josh. Command center? It's a basement!
Command Center. Live Free or Die Hard. Yeah, Live Free or Die Hard.
Live free or die hard.
You're both guessing Live Free or Die Hard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You both got it.
Yeah, because that's the scene he talked about with Kevin Smith.
Yes. Okay, I obviously picked an easy one on that one. Okay, you both get the point then. So question number 3. I guess I gotta make this a little more challenging. Okay, Dan, I'm on fucking vacation!
A Good Day to Die Hard.
Josh?
Yeah, because he was on probation, and 3, he was... Oh, is it...
Wait. Can I change
I think
my
it's
answer?
a good... No, I think it's Live Free or Die Hard.
Can I change my answer?
No, it's Die Hard 2.
Dan, you said you wanted to trade your answer?
I was going to say Die Hard too.
Yeah, it's Die Hard 2.
You're both saying Die Hard too?
Mm-hmm.
Dan, you should have stuck with A Good Day to Die Hard.
Oh, shit. Well, I've only seen that one once.
Wow.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, wowzers. Well, so we're 3 questions in, and you're each tied on 1.
Tom, this was dumb. Go ahead.
Well, I had a whole thing that whoever got closest also got a point, but no, that's... All right, Josh. Okay, question number 4. Okay. Let me ask you something. What sets off the metal detectors first? The lead in your ass or the shit in your brains?
Die Hard 2.
Yeah, it's Die Hard too.
Yeah, it's... God damn it, I really...
You really should have done a better quiz.
Yes, because we've both watched these movies several times. With the
And I know
exception-
I know that exact scene. I know exactly
Yeah.
that exact scene.
Yeah, he's talking to the
Dennis Franz, the police captain.
the police chief captain guy, yeah. And in the airport guy's office.
All right, well, okay, so Dan, you've got the last one, and it's up to you. If you can get this point right and Josh gets it wrong, you win. So, this one. You've got to be running out of bad guys by now, right? You got some kind of service or something? Some kind of 800 number? 1-800-HENCHMAN?
Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Josh?
I almost want to say Die Hard, but I think Dan's got it. You know what? I'll go ahead and bite the bullet for this one. Because regardless, it's either I'm going to get it right and I'm going to win and I get to do good trivia next week, or Dan's going to win and Dan gets to do good trivia next week. So I'm just I think you got it, but I'm going to go ahead and just say Die Hard.
You're both wrong. It's Live Free or Die Hard.
Oh, God damn it.
This was a stupid game.
I think this is the death. Like, Tom started the quiz, but we're going to kill it right here. So Tom killed the quiz.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a tiebreaker. Whoever gets it closest gets the point, but whoever gets it right on the money gets double
For God's
points.
sakes, just get it over with, please.
And no guessing the same answer. No guessing the same answer. Okay, so Josh, you've got this one. Oh wait, no, I'm not going to go with that one. That's way too easy. That is way too easy.
To quote a Dan, oh, for fuck's sake.
Take the Twinkie out of your mouth and grab a pencil, will ya?
Die Hard 2.
Die Hard. Damn it, Josh. Well, if we can't answer the same one, and whatever, Die Hard.
Josh wins.
He's talking to Reginald Val Johnson. At
Yeah.
the beginning, it's what he calls him. Tells him to take it out so he can accept the facts. Okay, well, Dan, you had a shitty quiz before. I've had a shitty quiz before. This was Tom's turn.
But this was the worst of the shitty quizzes.
It was.
It would have been fine if we'd gone with the close enough rules, and you kept guessing the same John
Because I
McClane
know
movies.
the quotes. I'm not going to guess the wrong movie on purpose.
Yeah, I did, and we still both got it wrong.
Yeah, I was like, the only one I wasn't quite sure of was the second to last one.
I was tempted to give you Die Hard 1, but those are all way too easy. And I figured the last one, the tiebreaker, I was going to say, I don't like to fly, but she actually did say in the first one. So it would have been a technical right if you guys get the first Die Hard. So, yeah, no, you both are just really bad at guessing Die Hard quotes. I honestly thought you had the live for your die hard quote there, Dan. Oh well. I guess that tells me one thing. Tom, play the music. Welcome back to another mile-high episode of The Fire Pit. I am, as always, your interspersal host, editor, and co-pilot, Tom. And if you'll look out your left window, you'll see a lovely view of John McClane fighting the personification of death on the left wing of a C-130. And if you look to your right, you'll see our nation's capital. And thank you for flying the Fire Pit skies with us here as we hit our cruising altitude and sail through our Groundhog's Day parade to Punxsutawney and the ultimate landing zone, Groundhog Day. Just as a reminder, after this destination, we'll be having a mid-season Q&A episode. So if you have any, questions or anything you've been wanting to know about the show, or questions about us in general, feel free to shoot them our way. The descriptions on how to roll those questions will be provided near the end of this episode. But speaking of rolling, let's take a peek back in time and see how our team's campaign is going.
Meanwhile, back at the campaign.
Okay, the plane is still taking off. Dan, your character's on the wing, fighting Josh's character. What do?
I use my awesome karate moves and I block all of his attacks and kick him off the plane. 17!
9! Damn it!
Language! Dan, Josh knocks you down. Now you're dangling off the wing. What do?
I look around and I see if there's anything I can grab to climb back up.
Alright, you see a lever that says fuel.
I grab it and climb back up.
I kick him off.
Alright, roll for it.
10!
15!
Not enough, Dan. You grab the fuel nozzle, but it breaks. Gasoline spraying everywhere. You fall off the plane and hit the ground hard.
Yes! I win! I finally win! Ha ha!
I light the gasoline on fire.
With what?
The lighter I used to light the torches from earlier when I tried to warn that plane you crashed.
That is not how gasoline works. You can't do that. That is total BS.
Yeah, I mean, you got to sneak guns into an airport.
But they were made of plastic. It counts.
Those aren't real.
Roll for it.
Nat 20!
Josh, roll to save.
1.
Yes! Yes!
Mother fricker! Darn it! Gosh darn it! But
Gasoline lights on fire, trails, then shoots up towards the airplane. Midair, it races up the wings, hits the fuel line, and
I roll to not die.
Too late! Boosh! Josh dies in fire. Dan has saved the day, gets back with his ex-wife, and they all live happily ever after. The end.
Yippee-ki-yay!
This is lame. So stupid. I totally should have had you when I trapped you in that plane and blew it up.
I barely got out of there with the ejection seat, remember?
Cargo planes don't have ejection seats.
I had to when Dan rolled that 20. Those are the rules. Honestly, I still can't believe how lucky he is. Remember the last game? You jumped off that darn roof with a fire hose tied around your waist with no shoes and lived.
Well, we need to check his dice next time. I swear they're loaded.
I just wish Aaron could have been here. He really sold it as cocaine friend in the last game. Maxed out all of his points on charisma, and he still rolled a 1.
Shame. You have to hate when it happens.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun, but I hate losing.
You know what? We need to do this again.
Yes! This story is awesome. We can play it at least 3 more times.
I don't know. I mean, if you keep telling the same story over and over, won't it get old?
Nah.
Alright, good game, guys.
Good game.
Good game. Huh. Wonder why all of this sounds so familiar. But if you have a campaign that you'd like to see our team go on, or a destination that they should aim for, or if you just want to talk in general, feel free to email us at curtaincallentertainmentinc@gmail.com. That's curtaincallentertainmentinc@gmail.com. Just be sure to put Firepit in the subject line, as well as what you're emailing in regards, whether it's to host an ad, give a shout out, ask a question, answer a question, or what have you, and send it our way. Then we'll roll our perception to make sure that we see it, check our intelligence while we read it, then use our wisdom to never respond. Hey, that's just how the dice roll. But that email again is curtaincallentertainmentinc@gmail.com, capital C, capital C, capital E, capital I, @gmail.com. Sounds like things are wrapping up down there. Time to begin our descent. Thank you all for listening, and as always, good luck.
And now to check on the team to see how they're enjoying their movie.
Something tells me they're not going to celebrate long.
I got my dice ready.
Send some to metal detectors first. Lead in your ass or shit in your brain.
Hey, that sounds familiar.
Yeah. If only it hadn't been an obvious line from this movie.
Fuck both of you. It was a good quiz.
Look at me! I have a weapon on a plane! It's clearly 1990.
Oh, it's only a taser. Come on.
I'll tell you what, Tom, let's go with a challenge here. You go on a plane tomorrow and brandish a taser to a random passenger. You don't have to call because I'll read about what happens in the news.
Not the next day, but live tweets as it happens.
Yeah.
Challenge.
Another passenger, white, brandished a taser, and he turned it on. Everybody heard the zapping. He says, no, no, no. I'm just showing it off. Now they're dragging him off the plane. They've punched him. They've punched him again. He's now unconscious. They're tasering him with his own taser. And he just pooped himself.
And the media has to mention he's not wearing a mask.
Yes.
You know what?
Because that just makes him even more of an asshole.
He was clearly wearing a MAGA hat.
No, come on, Josh. That's a line too far. MAGA hat. Come on.
No, you wouldn't have one on. But they'll just take one from the guy that they took who was on the no-fly list, and they'll just put it on your head as they're taking the pictures. Just, salt the wound. And then you'll be quoted as saying, I voted for Donald Trump. He won the election.
All right, fine. I'm not going to do the taser challenge. Oh, my God.
The newest trend on TikTok.
Hashtag Firepit Taser Challenge.
Oh, no! No! No!
I accept no part of this.
We do not have the money for the kind of lawyers this would take.
That's a New York cop, all right.
They're in D.C.
He sounds like a New York cop, though. He acts like a New York cop.
You're from Ohio. Your experience with New York cops are from the big screen TV.
And big screen TV never lies, Josh.
Never, ever.
This is totally accurate. I rescind the previous statement. Tom, you are right.
It's official. Tom's right. I'm time-stamping that. 5:40.
Death is looking sexy.
He's really dangling that scythe there.
Hey, Billy boy, you might want to go hit up a tanning bed.
Yeah, don't. You're just bouncing those things around when you do that, dude. Don't.
It might be cold. You don't know. Might be cold. Get out the underwear.
Oh, God. He had some pressing matters to attend to.
Stop.
So you cap some lowlife. Fine. I'll send your fucking captain into L.A. a fucking commendation. Now, in the meantime, you get the hell out of my office. Get out of my goddamn airport.
I don't know. I love this guy. He's every captain in a 90s cop film, but still, he's amazing.
You can have two. Fucking you.
Woohoo!
That's 3
wow!
words. That's actually 3 words.
He should have said, like, whether you're king or street sweeper, sooner or later you dance with the Reaper.
Smoking in an airport.
Get what you need. Or still kill.
Wait, don't kill. There's a cop in the room.
Why is there so much goddamn steam in this airport? What is wrong with their pipes? You rolled a 2. None of your bullets hit.
Well, then, can I knock over the scaffolding?
Roll for it. Oh,
shit.
15.
He goes down.
Oh, no. No. No, he rolled a 20. He rolled a 20.
And you killed the guy.
No more surprises.
Nah, everything else is going to go be fine. It wasn't.
Yeah, this is a DC airport. You had a shootout in a DC airport.
Oh, so it's Tuesday.
He had pressing. Oh, wait, Tom already used that one.
But it's funny when you said it.
Oh, screw you.
It's all in the delivery. It's all in the delivery.
I'm here to murder subordinates and chew bubblegum.
Oh, shit, I have one more piece of bubblegum. Sorry.
Would they route to different airports at this point? Because this is...
They said you missed the part. They started routing the farther out ones, but the ones that are low on fuel that couldn't make it, they kept them in formation because they're too far out from being able to land.
Oh, shit.
Also, there's a major snowstorm, so...
Well, thank God one of them has Chief O'Brien piloting, so you know that one's going to be safe.
Yeah.
They didn't.
How is he not dead?
20, 17.
Hey, I rolled a 20.
Bullshit.
Did he at least get hurt?
I rolled another 20.
No. The snowmobile blew up.
This game is dumb. Okay, so plot hole.
Yes.
Why doesn't somebody use one of those airphones that they use at the beginning of the fucking movie to find out what the hell's going on?
Now you start poking holes in the movie. After
You're right. I put my brain back in momentarily. It was stupid of me.
That's Punky Brewster's dad. They killed Punky Brewster's dad.
Oh, Punky.
They'll explain later, but they he owns a church.
You can't own a church.
Well, obviously you can if you kill the guy that runs the church.
That's not how that works at all either.
No, it's like, isn't like ownership 1/10 of the law or something like that? 9/10 of the law?
No, I think you're right. It's 1/10 of the law because you only own 1/10 of your possessions. Corporations own the other 9/10. So naturally, it leans towards them.
Right. But if 10 of us walked into a church and killed the one guy in the church, do we split the ownership 10 ways?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's exactly how it works.
Okay. I just want, thanks for clearing that up, Josh.
New fire pit challenge.
Hashtag Firepit. Buy a church.
Wow, we're talking about killing pastors in churches and carrying tasers on planes.
And we're not even 15 minutes into this movie.
Maybe we should come with a warning label. We might need to change that disclaimer.
Disclaimer, don't do anything we tell you to do on this podcast. No, seriously, that is now official. I'm going to put that at the beginning of this. Disclaimer, don't do what we tell you to do in this episode.
Tom, edit that out.
Everywhere, steam! Seriously! Well, if the first Die Hard movie was any indication, as soon as government officials of any capacity get in, everything goes to plan.
Ronald Reagan always said, the words you never want to hear is, I'm here from the government, and I'm here to help.
Ronald Reagan. The actor?
Oh, God. I didn't think it through. I'm sorry.
No, God damn it, no. Take a drink.
Damn it, I didn't. Oh, my God. I regret those words.
You did this to yourself. Haha, I got him stuck. I'm going to shoot out the windows.
Roll for it.
18.
You shoot out the windows, but since you were aiming for the windows, none of the bullets hit Dan.
Well, I'm not aiming for him. I want to throw all my grenades in the windows. I should have 3 left.
Roll for it.
16.
All the grenades get in. Dan, what do you do?
Oh, shit. I roll for an ejection seat.
Roll for it.
All right.
Cargo planes don't have ejection seats.
This one does.
It's a military cargo plane. I'll allow it.
I rolled a 20.
All right, you pull the ejection sheet. It launches.
Cargo planes don't have ejection seats.
But the parachute...
That's bullshit.
He rolled a 20.
Well, given that there's no ejection seats on cargo planes.
There was on this one. I rolled a 20.
This entire campaign is ridiculous.
Sound the horn, boys. Tell them how to bring those sons of bitches down.
Wrong movie, but you know what? No, this is exactly the right movie.
Wrong time, but right movie.
Hey, Frank, you get this parking ticket in front of my airport? Yeah. It's Christmas!
You caused this. You don't get to. No. This photoplay is not sponsored or approved by anyone with half a brain, a quarter of a brain, or a fraction of a brain, because this film is dumb. This film is dumb as hell.
And now, back to the episode.
Oh god, this film was bad. And it is 2:20. This was a long film. It felt long.
It's almost exactly 2 hours long.
Damn.
It
I thought it was like an hour and a half.
It felt like 3 hours. Jeebus.
So, Die Hard 2, Die Harder, starts with Bruce Willis's car getting towed, which we find out is not his car, but his mother-in-law's car. So what happens then? Well, he goes in and he sees some questionable men walking into the back. I'm skipping over a lot because I don't want to think about it. Into the back of the baggage claim area. So he goes into the baggage claim, finds them, fights them, and kills one of them. True to form. Gets bitched out by the cop captain guy who's there. He doesn't want to shut down the airport on Christmas Eve because, you know, why do his job? He apparently sucks at it. So then we come to find out that after that, the terrorists decide to take over the airport successfully and without any resistance. They take over the airport and shut out all the running lights and strand all of the planes up top, give them a few minutes to say their goodbyes. Basically say they're going to go quiet for a while. The people in the airport, they try to connect to an uplink on another communications array, on another annex. Well, they go there, get ambushed, and everybody dies except for the tower controller guy and Bruce Willis. They don't really explain it because apparently M16s aren't very good. So after that, they decide, like, okay, well, what you get for trying to save people in the planes is we're going to crash a plane. So Miles O'Brien pilots a plane directly into the ground, killing everybody on board. And then after that, they try to land another plane that is not theirs. Hilarity ensues. It's the crime lord from, I can't think of the name, Valverde, the country. He's on a military escort being extradited to the United States, so they intercept. He lands. Bruce Willis does not die again somehow. Manages to get locked into the cabin as bullets are raining upon him. And then grenades, and then somehow a magical ejection seat appears, and he escapes at the last moment for the 15th time by this point in the picture. So he escapes, and I totally forgot to talk about the military group that came in, but that's okay. I forgot a lot about watching this movie. I didn't have my brain attached as I was watching it. So at one point, a group of military guys came on. They were helping out, and then suddenly they turned, and betrayal, they were bad guys. Bruce Willis catches up with them, fights one on a wing, throws him into the engine, fights the second one, gets thrown off, doesn't break any bones, just enough injury to limp towards the end of it, lights a trail of fuel on fire and blows up the plane. The end. I'm just going to say that the quicker summary of this was, it's Die Hard in an airport. The end. Should have done that way. I should have done that way. Tom, go ahead and edit that one in instead. Die Hard 2. Die Harder. It's Die Hard in an airport. The end. But yes, that was Die Hard 2. Die Harder. So, Tom, I know your feelings about it just by the tone of your voice now. I want to hear what you think about this movie. So, Tom, give those final thoughts.
Fuck this movie.
Tell us how you really feel.
Okay. You know, we joked about this being like a D&D campaign, but this felt as logical as a D&D campaign. Tell me, how does a film that started the Die Hard in a ... genre feel like the laziest Die Hard in a ... film? This was speed without any thought and less fun. Oh my God, can I please have 2 hours of my life back? Oh my God. I think it boils down to that all of this just boils down to willful incompetence on everyone's part. Everything could have been solved if person 1 used brain cell 2 on any of this. And I need to slow down because there's just so much wrong. It's piling up. When you have a shooting in a DC airport, I don't care if it's the 1990s or the 1890s, you shut the fucker down. Yeah, the cop may have been an asshole, but the air traffic control guy was shown to be at least partially competent. Why did he not shut his own goddamn airport down? And then it just tumbles down from there. They took their time to explain how they were able to sneak guns onto the airport. That's the only thing they even cared to try to explain. It's like, where did they get guns on? Oh, they're ceramic. We'll throw that line in. But they didn't care about anything else. They didn't care about this film. They just wanted it to make money. And it just comes out in buckets. Dear Lord. It's dumb. It's so goddamn lazy dumb. And maybe a part of it too comes down to with the first Die Hard or any of these other Die Hards in a ... They keep it limited to the space it's taking place. Speed, majority of the film, the really tense stuff took place in the bus, and that was the majority of the film, and those were the best parts. Any other film, they take place in location. This one had him going from the airport to the runway, to the church, to the everywhere else. And he had other people helping him. Very competent people who at any point, had they used Brain 1 in the beginning, would have resolved this. And that's what really took me out of it. Because you look at all these people, military people with M16s, which actually, Josh, as we both know, having shot M16s, yeah, those suck. Should have resolved this at any point. And it comes down to they had to be lazy and dumb and stupid because plot, because Die Hard. And now I'm going to just step back. And Josh, you say you like this film. Why? Why do you like this film?
Defend yourself, sir.
Well, okay, to be fair,
I
haven't actually watched this movie in its entirety with an objective lens in 20 years, 30 years. It's always on in the background, as is most stuff that I do watch. I'm hardly ever focusing on a movie. Yes, all of the points there are still dumb, but I still like watching this movie regardless of all the ridiculousness in it. But yes, it's one of those things. It's like, I'm probably just sunken cost fallacy. I've enjoyed this movie for so long, I can't not like it.
Is it the action scenes that literally draw you in? Or, I mean, what really, like...
No, I like some of the twists and the turns that the movie does make, but no, it is definitely a dumb action 90s romp. I still do enjoy it. It is very low on the mental requirements that you have to do. I mean, I think I kept myself mentally connected to this film by all the mental gymnastics I was doing trying to justify various aspects of it.
Which you did well. I'm not going to lie. There were reports like, well, Josh makes... No, wait, no, this still makes no sense. Why am I agreeing with Josh?
Well, because the logic makes sense, but the logic in the movie doesn't make sense. Like, Bruce Willis should not have been firing a thing of blanks in the middle of a crowded room full of policemen.
Yeah,
so
he would have been shot down within seconds.
But
or surviving an exploding snowmobile.
But yeah, it's like I said, I still enjoy it. Just honestly, if it was any other movie, I probably wouldn't like it. But because it's Die Hard, I like it. Like, if you had given me Die Hard in an airplane or in an airport, I'd be like, eh. But yeah, it's pretty ridiculous, and I acknowledge that going into it. But when I watched this movie for the first time in the 90s, I loved it. But watching it now as an adult, yes, I'm repeating myself, ridiculous, but I still like it because I feel like at this point I have to. Nigel.
What?
What are your expectations? Actually, real quick.
Tom, I know what my expectations were.
Tom, did you recommend this to anyone?
We're not at that part yet, Josh.
I wanted to do it just to preempt you. Dan, so what are your final thoughts on this film?
Well, my final thoughts are this is not the worst Die Hard sequel. It's the second worst Die Hard sequel. I have to agree with Tom. Yeah, I never really thought about it. I've always kind of had this thought about this movie that it's just too safe of a sequel. It's too much of a sequel. If there's such a thing as too much of a sequel. This is almost exact contrast of my thoughts from Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey last week when I mentioned that I applauded Bogus Journey for having a completely different plot than the first Bill and Ted movie and not retreading the exact same plot threads, which I really enjoyed. And they didn't even recycle a lot of the same jokes. But this movie almost just takes the plot of Die Hard and moves it to an airport, and it becomes almost too much. Like, it has a lot of the same story beats, has some of the same jokes and humor, which works in some scenes but doesn't work in other scenes. And then it just kind of ups the body count and ups the violence a little bit. And I wouldn't say ups the stakes, but definitely ups the location. Because like Tom said, it's all over the place. It's almost like playing a Call of Duty game. You just keep going from one action set piece to the next action set piece to the next action set piece. And you don't really get a whole lot of time to recover from it, except for a few quippy one-liners from the hero. I don't know. This I think it's enjoyable if it's an action film. And I think it would be even more enjoyable as a dumb 90s action film if it wasn't the sequel to the best action movie ever. That's my main problem with it.
And maybe it's because it's unfocused in its serial escalation. Because you made a point there, Nigel. They're trying to up the stakes. It's in an airport. You got airplanes, but they don't know how to focus that in to make you feel like it's bigger.
Yeah, but in the next sequel, Die Hard with a Vengeance does have bigger stakes and more locations, but they focus the plot a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And they make it almost a truer sequel because the bad guy is Hans Gruber's brother. And it's both a revenge plot and a money, like he wants to steal a bunch of money like his brother wanted to. So Die Hard with a Vengeance feels like it's more of a true sequel than this movie does. This movie almost feels like a cash grab. I don't know. It's just part of it I like. I like some of the one-liners. I like the humor. And I think Bruce Willis is still really good in this film. But overall, I just think the plot is really lazy and it's almost too safe.
It is definitely safe. I think it mixes it up just enough to be entertaining to 80s audiences.
Like, it counts on people having seen the film, like knowing these people, because it's barely a year old, which is why they just rush things at the beginning. It's like, Die Hard and go!
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't do any character introductions at all.
Yeah.
Except for naked bad guy at the beginning, and even then it's not that big of a deal. So it's just basically a way of telling the audience, this is the bad guy, because he's doing Tai Chi free balling. But okay, awesome. Like I said, this would probably be a decent enough action movie on its own, but unfortunately it's the sequel to the greatest action movie of all time.
I mean, I'll give it this much. I mean, the directing wasn't bad, but I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to find a thing to defend this film, but it comes down to the story. It doesn't matter how good the directing is. If the story's bad, it's bad. And this was bad.
It was definitely a by-the-numbers action film. Yeah, like, if this would have came out before... Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you guys think that if this movie, not obviously as a sequel to Die Hard, but say beat for beat, everything is the same, came out before Die Hard, it would have been as successful as Die Hard?
Yeah, I do. And like I said, I just said it would have been a perfectly serviceable and awesome action film if it wasn't the sequel to Die Hard.
Oh, yeah, I know, but I'm saying if it was the first Die Hard, do you think it would have been as successful?
I don't know, because part of the charm of the first Die Hard was that it was a shift in the action movie genre. Like we'll talk about it if we ever get to Die Hard 1. I'd love to do that movie someday. Back then in the 80s when that movie was made, the action movie genre was dominated by Stallone and Schwarzenegger playing invincible superheroes with M60 machine guns. They never got shot. They never showed any vulnerability, and they killed all the bad guys with quippy one-liners. And they always carried the heaviest machine gun that the camera could get on film. And then Die Hard comes around, and Bruce Willis doesn't look anything like Schwarzenegger or Stallone. Gets a pithy little 9mm through most of the movie. Is a regular cop. Loses his shoes, so he runs around the whole movie barefoot, and he's up against some serious odds and out of his element too, because he's not even in the same city that he's.
Dan, I already did the summary for the film.
I'm just saying that if this had come out before Die Hard, would it have been as successful as Die Hard? This movie, no. If it was a Die Hard clone with a different cast, like if it had just been one of those Die Hard copycat movies, with a like Speed was. Speed's a Die Hard copycat. If there's been a movie like Speed that didn't have Bruce Willis in the lead role and didn't take place in the Die Hard universe, probably would have been better.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't have to agree with Nigel on this one. If Die Hard 2 had come out first, it would have just felt like a knockoff action film, and no one would have noticed it. I don't know if that's better or worse, but it just is what it is.
Yeah. I really do feel like Die Hard with a Vengeance is a better sequel to this film than this one. Like, I really wish they would have just skipped this one and gone straight to Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Yes, because, gold hidden under Wall Street is far more believable a story than this entire film.
I'm just talking about how they did something different. Like, it wasn't a by the numbers sequel to Die Hard. Even Live Free or Die Hard, that movie's stupid as hell, but it's still different than Die Hard. So, like I said, this is not the worst Die Hard sequel. That's still definitely Good Day to Die Hard, but this is the second worst.
And now I think we're all in a holding pattern above an airport that's gonna blow up. Is it supposed to blow up?
The airport was never going to blow up. It was all about the planes. The hostages were the people on the airplanes, not the people in the airport.
I wish that they had focused a little bit more on that. Maybe would have felt those stakes, but I didn't feel those stakes. And I understand why the chick didn't come back for the third film, because, you're just going to sit in an airplane for 2 hours. Okay, but I'm stepping back. I'm done. I've said my piece.
Yeah, still keep in mind, it's not the highest grossing Die Hard film, but it's the one Die Hard film that made the most profit.
Because it was the sequel to Die Hard.
This is true.
That definitely helped it. Die Hard made buckets of money, is hugely popular, lauded by critics, lauded by the audience. I can definitely see why the immediate sequel would make a shit ton of money.
Well, truthfully, it only made about $50 million. $55 million profit. The first Die Hard. The second Die Hard made about 40-ish.
They had a higher budget too.
Yeah, almost 50, 47 million. So yeah, Die Hard 2 made $47 million profit.
Well, maybe I had my numbers wrong when I was doing my facts and figures. But I'm just saying, I can see why this movie made a ton of money. It's the sequel to Die Hard. That definitely would have helped its marketing.
I'm just looking at the showdown of all of them. So yeah, the first Die Hard made more profit. Die Hard with a Vengeance actually only made $10 million profit. Live Free or Die Hard looks like it made $24 million profit. And A Good Day to Die Hard actually lost the studio $25 million.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, it looks like it made a bunch of money because it made like $311 million in the box office. But if you account for its advertising, it made shit.
Domestic gross none of them made. Worldwide gross, they did pretty well. But A Good Day to Die Hard made $67 million domestically. It made $304 worldwide.
Holy shit.
I also think about the other action movies that came out around this same time, because this is like 1990 to 1994, which I consider a pretty good couple of years for action films and their sequels. Like, I think about like Lethal Weapon, awesome movie, but Lethal Weapon 2 is also really good because it's not the exact same plot as Lethal Weapon 1. Same with Terminator 2 versus Terminator 1, like not the exact same plot. So Aliens compared to Alien, like they're not the same exact plot. So
yeah, very rarely does a sequel live up to the original.
Yeah,
am I right?
Yeah, and then very rarely does it surpass it.
Well, no, for a while there, the trend was, I think after this film, Superman 2 did, and then the second Pirates
and Godfather 2,
and Star Trek 2: Wrath of Khan. Mm-hmm. So no, actually, up until most recently, I think. It depends on the sequel. This was not one of those rules. It was an exception to the sequel is better than the original. Yeah,
it's like this one is about, it doesn't have the charm, but it is about the same.
Yeah.
It definitely rehashes the plot and rehashes some of the other stuff. Like, if it was a comedy, it would rehash the same jokes.
Yeah, like I said, it's almost, like I said, it's a complete contrast from the last sequel we watched, which was Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. And I forgot to mention, I even wrote it down in my notes. I was telling Tom when we were doing our table read and all that the other night. I even wrote it in my notes that I thought Bogus Journey was funnier than Excellent Adventure. I remember laughing more, and because it's a different film. So I don't know. And I think a good sequel, like Lethal Weapon 2 and Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, they add a few characters that help it. And this one, all the characters they added, with the exception of Dennis Franz, police captain. I could have done without almost all of them.
And even he didn't add anything. He was just asshole captain It's like generic asshole.
Yeah, he was just there to be a roadblock for
Mm-hmm.
John McClane. I mean, he was just there to stop him, or at least bitch him out about something. 9 times out of 10, he was told to shut up and color.
Right, yeah, and shut up and color. It's a pretty good one. Yeah, but I mean, like, I'm just thinking about other sequels. Like, you know, the Lethal Weapon 2 added Joe Pesci's character, you know, and yeah, he gets annoying by number 4, but number 2, he's awesome.
I thought he was added in the third one.
No, Joe Pesci's added in the second one.
I thought it was there in the beginning.
No, he's not in the first one. He's the Chekhov of that franchise, but he's not in the first one. He's in, but he gets introduced in the second one. He's the accountant for the diplomatic immunity people or something. So
yeah, but in this one, yeah, they had the chief, they had the captain, they had what was he, like a maintenance man?
Yeah, the runway maintenance guy, the guy. I know he's not, but I keep calling him the guy that's living under the airport, even though that's not where he lives. But yeah, they had the airport maintenance guy. They had the police chief captain. Then they had obviously the antagonists and the news reporter chick. Like all of the new characters, quote unquote new characters introduced in this movie, I'm like, they're not memorable at all. Unlike Samuel L. Jackson and Justin Long and Live Free and Die Hard with a Vengeance, like their characters are memorable.
I don't even remember the son, the guy who played the son in Die Hard 5.
Nobody remembers anything about Die Hard 5.
It takes place in Russia. That's it. That's all I know.
It's pretty awful.
Oh, gods, yes.
But so I've said all I can say about it.
Oh, no shit. It was Jay Courtney.
I don't know who that cat is. Who's Jay Courtney?
He played a lot of like blah characters.
Oh, yeah.
He played Kyle Reese in Terminator Genesis. Oh. He played Boomerang in Suicide Squad. He plays a lot of blasé characters because he's not that good of an actor.
Yeah,
he was at least partially memorable as Boomerang, just because he had.
Yeah, he was good at Boomerang. I'll give him that. But yeah, it's like I thought he was generic as hell in Terminator Genesis. Of course, that movie was generic as hell.
And a couple years later, Terminator Dark Fate comes out and reminds us that Genesis is not the worst thing that happened to the Terminator franchise.
Kind of like how Live Free or Die Hard reminds us that Die Hard 2 is not the worst Die Hard.
Yeah.
Speaking about bad sequels.
Yes. But to answer your question earlier, Josh, no. I recommend this film. I recommend this film if you want to hurt your friends and make them suffer. Watch this film with them. Watch them cry.
Okay, so follow up to that question then, to Nigel. Did it work?
Yes. Yes, it did. I stand by that. All right. Well, I guess that does it for tonight's show. As a reminder, you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to like and subscribe, as it really does help the podcast out.
And be sure to join us on Discord. Have some fun interacting with us, talking amongst us and our other awesome fans. Feel free to suggest movie paths, critique the paths that we did choose, the movies that we watched. I try to ignite conversation here and there. But you can also find us on Facebook or Twitter. Just as a reminder, after this journey, so in a few weeks from now, we're going to be having a mid-season Q&A session where we're going to discuss the season and have questions from the audience, so to speak. So if you want to ask your questions, feel free to ask those questions on any medium of choice, and we'll be sure to answer those on that episode, a special episode that's coming out here in a little bit. We will probably answer every single question that comes in, just FYI. Any question, specifically about Tom. Any question.
Definitely no questions about
Tom. And even if Tom doesn't answer, me and Dan will answer them. So ask the questions. Doesn't matter what they are. We'll answer them.
Asterix, no, he won't.
Yes, he will.
But if you happen to want to ask those questions old school style, or just want to reach out to us old school style in general, you can also email us at our email, as mentioned back in the interspersal. If you want to talk sponsorships in particular, or provide any feedback or submissions, the links to the email and all social media can be found in the episode's description at firepit.podbean.com.
Excellent.
I thought so.
I'd like to give a special shout out to Peggy, friend of the channel. Thanks always for listening. Other shout outs to some workmates that are listening to the show. Thanks for listening, Travis and others. I appreciate it. It's just a little project I like doing, and I'm glad to be sharing it with the rest of you.
I would like to give a shout out to my dad, not my mom, because she apparently says we cuss too much. So my dad says, fuck yeah to that, and fist pumps me, or fist bumps the air type thing. So thanks, Dad. I always appreciate it. And as always, shout out to Zencaster for saving our butts, as always. And for some reason, screwing with Dan's recordings. And Sync Lounge and Plex. Thank you. Shout out to you guys.
If you ever want to sponsor us, by the way, Zencaster.
I think they have bigger fish that use their platform than us.
But every fish counts in this pond. And we're not above taking any kind of money.
This is true. We are cheap dates.
We are very cheap dates, Zencaster. So, for myself, though, I'll give a shout out to my mom, even though she also says we cuss too much. But in particular, I want to shout out to some of our Facebook followers, Dyson, Kelkel, and Brianna. Last names withheld because privacy. We still have a lot more to get through. We have a couple hundred plus and a few more that are coming in here and there daily. So we want to thank you for sliding in. Hopefully you're enjoying the podcast, sharing it out, and helping to keep this fire pit burning.
So if Tom loved this week's movie, I feel like he's going to really like next week's movie.
What are we watching next week, Josh?
Oh, it's funny you mentioned that, Tom.
Oh, it's a bird. It's a plane.
It's an asteroid.
A big goddamn asteroid.
It's the size of Texas, sir. We're going to be following Bruce Willis to Armageddon, where NASA teaches drillers how to be astronauts instead of the other way around, which would probably be easier. So
I don't want to miss a thing of that.
Yeah, I can't wait to see all the scientific accuracy that movie has to offer. Honestly, the only positive about that movie is it's not Deep Impact.
Yeah, but then you don't have Robert Duvall. You got Steven Tyler.
You also get Liv Tyler, though. So
you do get Liv Tyler. You do get Steven Tyler.
And you do
get Billy Bob. Yeah, Billy Bob.
And Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck. Affleck.
Ben Affleck.
All right. Well, we look forward to having you join us next week as we watch Michael Bay.
Armageddon on.
Yeah, Armageddon it on with Aerosmith. Until then, I've been Dan.
I've been Josh.
And I've been Tom. Thanks for listening.
This has been a production of Curtain Call Entertainment, LLC.
Stay safe out there.
I light the gasoline on fire.
With what?
The lighter I used to light the torches from earlier when I tried to warn that plane you crashed.
So, did you get all that, Steven?
Yes, I did, Doug. I think we have our next Hollywood blockbuster.
I love being a Hollywood executive.
High fives.
High fives.